In 1995, there is a guy named MacArthur Wheeler walked into a bank with the confidence of a mastermind. His genius plan is smearing lemon juice on his face because he thought it would make him invisible to security cameras. You heard that right, lemon juice. The same stuff you put on fish or mix with soda. Of course, the police caught him almost instantly, and Wheeler was genuinely shocked. He couldn't believe they recognized him. After all, in his head, lemon juice was basically Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. This sounds hilarious, but that kind of misplaced confidence isn't rare. In fact, it happens way more often than we'd like to admit. And this one ridiculous robbery led two psychologists to uncover one of the strangest and most dangerous glitches in the human brain. MacArthur Wheeler wasn't some career criminal. He was just a guy who really thought he'd hacked the system. His logic went like this. Lemon juice can be used as invisible ink, so if he rubbed it on his face, cameras wouldn't pick him up. Genius, right? So he strolls into not one, but two banks, completely barefaced, lemon juice smeared across his skin, and walks out thinking he's untouchable. Later that night, police showed up at his door, and Wheeler, absolutely stunned. He couldn't wrap his head around how they managed to see him. This wasn't just stupidity, it was confidence built on a foundation of nothing. He wasn't joking, he wasn't drunk, he truly believed he was smarter than the cameras, smarter than the system, smarter than everyone else. That's exactly what made researchers David Dunning and Dunning-Krueger obsessed with his case. Because if one guy could be that confident while being that wrong, what does that say about the rest of us? Intrigued by Wheeler's bizarre invisibility trick, Dunning and Krueger decided to dig deeper. They wanted to know, why do some people who clearly lack skills walk around acting like they've cracked the code of life? So in 1999, they ran a study. First, they asked people to rate jokes. The participants who swore they had the sharpest sense of humor, yeah, those were the ones who bombed hardest on the test. Then came language and logic challenges. Same pattern. The bottom scorers weren't just wrong, they were also the most confident in their brilliance. Meanwhile, the top performers, the ones who actually knew what they were doing, often doubted themselves. They thought other people were better than them, even when the results proved the opposite. And out of this delicious irony, the Dunning-Kruger Effect was born. A fancy way of saying, the less you know, the more likely you are to strut around like you're a genius. We've all met a Wheeler in real life. That one friend who argues with total confidence about some random fact, and then a 2-second Google search proves they're completely wrong. But sadly, half the group believes them anyway, because confidence is contagious. Or think about driving. Statistically, almost everyone believes they're an above-average driver, which is funny, because if that were true, traffic accidents wouldn't exist. But as we know, they do, a lot. The same thing happens at school or work. You'll see the student who swears they've nailed the exam, only to fail spectacularly. Or the coworker who thinks they deserve the promotion but can't actually explain what they bring to the table, other than, the boss just doesn't like me. Dunning and Krueger even visualized this with a graph. On one side you've got confidence, on the other competence. At the very start, when you know almost nothing, confidence shoots up like a rocket. You feel unstoppable. Psychologists actually nicknamed this peak Mount Stupid, but then, as you learn more, your confidence crashes into what's called the Valley of Despair. That's the moment you realize, oh crap, I don't know nearly as much as I thought. And slowly, as real knowledge builds, confidence climbs again, but never back to that delusional high of Mount Stupid. So why do we fall for this mental trap? It's simple. When we learn just a little bit about something, our brain tricks us into thinking we've mastered it. Watch a couple TikTok videos on World War II. Suddenly you're a battlefield strategist. Read one finance blog, now you're Warren Buffett's lost apprentice. The problem is, we know just enough to feel smart, but not enough to realize how much we don't know. It's like standing on the tip of an iceberg and assuming you've seen the whole thing. The deeper knowledge, the stuff that shows you how clueless you actually are, is still hidden underwater, and until you dive in, you stay stuck in that overconfident bubble. Researchers kept digging, and the results were just as funny as they were depressing. Engineers in one company were asked to rate themselves. 42% believed they were in the top 5%. You don't need to be a math genius to know those numbers don't add up. Professors? 94% said they were above average at teaching, which basically means they all gave themselves an A+. Debate teams that lost almost every round still walked away convinced they won the majority. And drivers, 93% of Americans think they're better than average. Statistically impossible, but confidence doesn't care about statistics. Culture also plays a role. In Japan, people tend to be self-deprecating, using failure as an opportunity for self-improvement. In the United States, they refer to failure as character building while convincing themselves that they are all special. That's where things get depressing and kind of hilarious in the worst way. The loudest people in the room are usually the ones who know the least. Fake experts, self-proclaimed gurus, influencers yelling into their ring lights like they've solved the meaning of life. Meanwhile, they barely understand what they're talking about. But confidence? Oh, they've got an unlimited supply. And how about the real experts? They're often the quiet ones, second-guessing themselves, buried in self-doubt. So what do we get? A world where the clueless scream into the mic, and the people who actually know the thing are too busy wondering if they're good enough to even speak. Bertrand Russell summed it up perfectly. The stupid are cocksure, while the intelligent are full of doubt. Basically the internet in one sentence. As much as the Dunning-Kruger Effect makes humanity look like a bad comedy sketch, it's not all terrible. In fact, that overconfidence is sometimes the only reason we even start things. Think about it. If I knew how brutal YouTube really is, I probably never would have uploaded my first video, but that misplaced confidence gave me just enough courage to hit publish. That's the upside. Ignorance can trick us into taking the first step. The danger is staying there forever, acting like you've got it all figured out. Because the truth is, the people who admit they don't know everything, they're the ones who keep learning, keep improving, and eventually leave the fake experts in the dust. So, how do you escape Mount Stupid without setting up permanent residency there? Start with this. Pause before you go around teaching everyone, like you've just unlocked the secrets of the universe. Ask questions, check other perspectives, because odds are someone out there knows way more than you. And no, it's not the guy on TikTok who yells facts after every sentence. Comparing yourself to others isn't always toxic either. Sometimes it's the only way to see your blind spots. If you think you're killing it, look at how someone better does it. Suddenly you'll realize you've got plenty left to learn. The key is staying curious and not letting a little confidence trick you into thinking you've arrived. Like Einstein said, "I'm not a genius, I'm just curious." And honestly, that mindset beats being the loudest fool in the room any day. At the end of the day, the Dunning-Kruger effect is both funny and terrifying. It explains why the loudest voices online are often the least informed, and why the people who actually know things hesitate to speak. But it also reminds us that a little misplaced confidence can push us to take that scary first step, as long as we don't stop there. So tell me, what's something this video made you reflect on? Maybe a time you realized you didn't know as much as you thought, or a moment where confidence tricked you into doing something you'd normally avoid. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to actually hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and maybe even tap that little bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. Seriously.